Nice. Welcome back. As my last video was 12 ways feminism helps men, I figured I'd do another video with another feminist telling men why feminism is important to them. But first, and this is very important, my desk is empty and I am very hungry. Can you make me a sandwich? Today's sandwich maker was the delightful Mel. Link to her channel in the description, please check her out. Now on with the show.
Yo, 2 things before I get started here. So, I'm well aware that I'm a male. Just shut up, just roll with it, okay? This is important.
Yes, I had noticed you possessed certain male characteristics. I didn't want to ask your identity, though I didn't want to touch on a potentially soft subject. I am, however, curious as to whether or not you are a male feminist. And if you can call yourself one, seeing as though I am told on multiple occasions you are an ally at best.
And the second thing is that we need to define feminism formally here.
Alright, go read your dictionary definition, but I'm going to speed it up.
Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political and economic equality to men. Keyword is equality.
Yes, we non-feminists are very much familiar with the dictionary definition to feminism. We are also very much aware of the feminism undermining the definition, and that the definition is not really applicable in quite a few developed nations. I also noticed the jump cuts. Well done.
Women's equality. That is not your fucking formal definition of feminism. Just leave. X out of the video. Thank you for clicking. Just get the leave.
Well, now you actually bring up a very interesting question I have to ask myself. Do I believe the dictionary definition is appropriate for feminism? And based on where I live, I have to say no. That does not mean to say it cannot be applicable in other nations where women's rights are very much non-existent, or human rights for that matter. That certainly does need more thought, though. I will give it more thought. I'm not clicking off this video, though.
Reason number 1 that feminism is really important to men. I'm floating away here. Modern feminism holds male and female emotions to the same degree of value.
It's a shame that the supposed modern feminists cannot apply this to all equal rights. Also, I'm curious as to whether or not modern feminism would encompass those that do not care about the fifis of men. I am also a little curious as to whether or not modern feminism cares about those types of men that do not care for expressing emotion. You could call them Vulcans if you want.
Meaning it would help eradicate the whole stigma around men feeling sensitive emotions and not being able to express them without seeming like a weenie or being demasculated or whatever.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I've never felt this urge to express emotion. It's a choice, really, or how we are raised. But if I ever decide to let go of those emotions that never surfaced to begin with, I would do it without fear of being judged by Muppets, or judged by the very group you are supporting that would judge. If someone has a problem with this, they can go ahead and suck on that jar of salt at the edge of my desk here.
Modern feminism also holds male physique and female physique to the same
I am all
respect.
for body positivity. I am not for body positivity for those who are morbidly obese and promote an unhealthy living standard and body image. Because they are wrong, they are disgusting, and they are a problem. Because they think it's okay to look like that and then tweet out, "Oh, I'm healthy," while standing next to a treadmill. That's not how it works, love. Get on it. Turn it on, put it on a reasonable setting with a decent incline, and get back to me. I am also not big on those same people who would claim to promote body positivity railing on those who are healthy because of unhealthy body image. You remember that Protein World poster? Yeah, she was healthy. This is not healthy. This is not healthy. This is definitely, most certainly, unequivocally not healthy. But if you're going to hold everyone of every body type to the same standard, fine. Just don't judge or make more victims.
Wow, I'm talking a lot of this going on. Example, in general, women are objectified in the media all the time. There's this constant pressure to look a certain way. You never stop hearing about it. It's an issue.
You do know this happens to men as well. We have the unfair body images thrown at us with men with massive ripped bodies, tall, lean, that is promoted quite a lot. But we don't complain about it, and if we do mention it, we're told to man up, toughen up princess, go hit the gym. Do you even lift, bro?
What us guys don't realize is that the same type of shit happens to us all the time. We're just not saying anything about it.
I should have let you finish that sentence. I am curious as to what you think feminism will do. There is a specific type of man that will be put at the bottom of the intersectional pecking order because he has all the privilege and all the power. He even has the power of Grayskull. I am of course referring to the cisgendered white male. Are you going to help him too with the unrealistic body image that he craves so little? Men don't care that much.
And subconsciously, it actually has the same self-esteem crunching effect. In general, feminism destroys the hypermasculinity complex. And if you think about that, it's like a strange form of self-oppression. It's like if you feel a certain way or want to do something that's outside of what everyone's conventional definition of masculinity is, you're automatically assumed to be this fucking mega weirdo.
Feminism destroys the hypermasculinity complex. Basically then it just destroys masculinity, directly aiming it at alpha males. Congratulations. Oh, and I couldn't help but notice the magical word, oppression come up. Just because we are self-conscious does not mean we are oppressing ourselves. There are other factors that may in fact contribute to that subconscious oppression. Unemployment being one, inability to pay all your bills, a lack of friends in one's life. There are many others that I could list. It is not solely because you're internally subconsciously oppressing yourself. I won't deny there are some people like this though, but they don't need feminism. All they need to do is step inside a gym if they can afford to, because they'll find people in a gym are very understanding, and some are ridiculously in shape. Unrealistic body image central.
Which doesn't make any sense. It's like if you want to knit a sweater or bake a batch of cookies, do that shit. Be happy.
People should do that anyway because cookies are delicious and woolly jumpers, scarves, mittens and hats are actually rather good in winter. It's also a fantastic sign of self-sufficiency. So everyone should do it anyway unless you live in Australia and are complaining about it being 20 degrees outside and still being cold.
Next reason, if feminism is instilled into your life as a male, there is no need to act overly sexually aggressive.
Well, you're really investing in this destroying hypermasculinity thing, aren't you? Or masculinity, or redefining what it means to be masculine. Which is fine, you can say it is being a pussy, I don't mind in the slightest. But, sexual aggression does not solely happen with men alone. I get the impression this is a not too subtle way of bringing up rape culture, which is, as we all know, bullshit. Unless you are now including lesser developed nations, which I know I shouldn't equate the whole world, I know. But let's face it, it happens more common in other countries that don't have our values, where it is unacceptable for someone to rape unless you're a man and you're being made to penetrate or forcibly enveloped, or it happens in prison. Because that's okay. That's okay in our culture. But we don't live in a rape culture.
Which, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, if you look into the forums and what people are saying online and all that jazz, there's a lot of guys out there, like young males, that honestly just don't feel that way. They just don't feel the need to constantly have to objectify women and deface their integrity and how they value people, all in the name of this hyper-masculinity clusterfuck going on.
Yeah, there are a growing number of men who are like that. It does not mean they need feminism to help protect them from the dreaded masculinism.
Another good point, and the most important one I think, is that it helps shed light on men who have been sexually assaulted.
Psst. Psst. I think you're confusing men's rights activism or advocacy or feminism, you retard. Now, in all seriousness, there are an increasing number of men who should be classified as being sexually assaulted but are not, because laws in the United States and the United Kingdom do not acknowledge that these circumstances count as rape. They have in the United States a list of scenarios, but not one of them includes made to penetrate by a woman or forcible envelopment, which does happen, has happened, and the man has been punished for it, financially or with jail time or expulsion from college. What's feminism going to do? It will protect the woman because the woman is the victim.
I think this is something that people don't really bring up or think about a lot because it's uncomfortable, and it's for the most part, it's unheard of. Once again, when men feel a certain way about something, most times it's considered not masculine, unmasculine, not so masculine. A lot of the times we look at sexual assault as this one-way window, like only females can be sexually assaulted, but it happens to men a lot, and because they feel like it's demasculating to admit that they feel a certain way or feel violated in any way in general.
My main gripe with you with this video is that you equate all these problems to masculinity. Masculinity is not to blame when a woman rapes a man. Masculinity is not to blame when the man feels a bit ashamed or when the man is being screwed over in the courts because of the consequences of him being raped and her taking something from him without his consent, and her not being prosecuted, him paying child support, him being forced to look after a child he never wanted because he was fucked without his permission. Men don't feel ashamed to admit when they've been raped. Men are just concerned that when they do admit it, they're going to be made to pay for it. And the fact is that if we live in the patriarchy, surely there will be laws in place to protect men better against this particular oversight.
Nobody comes out about it and they don't get help, or they feel mocked, and that's not okay at all. Like, that's not how being sexually assaulted works.
Absolutely. So instead of pinning this on hyper-masculinity, why not advocate for laws to be changed so that male victims can come forward when a woman has raped a man? Why not campaign so that male victims can receive the same kind of help and support a female victim gets? Why not stop ostracizing those that advocate for the rights being denied to men by the patriarchy and instead support them? Instead of telling them they need feminism for this, which has been proven time and time again to not help men, why not act, campaign, advocate, and not put these regressive millennial woes all over social media as if they are more valid than the legal rights being denied to actual people?
That's not how having emotions or feelings or being fucking human works in general. If you're a human, you're gonna feel a certain way about certain stuff regardless of what your gender is. There's no reason to differentiate what you're capable of or what you're allowed to show or express around other people based on your gender.
While gender does play a part in expressing certain behaviour and mood, it is wrong to think that all men think expressing themselves is inherently wrong. That said, since we have an angrier side, I can only assume that this is the not okay part and we must instead have a good cry. It's a shame you never link any behavioural studies to these assertions of yours, as you could have really given your words a bit of legitimacy. Instead, I get to dismiss it as nothing more than a guy telling other guys that feminism will help them express their emotion, even if they don't want to, by smashing the patriarchy. The same patriarchy that gives women more legal rights than men and openly allows for men to be discriminated against. Let's not forget that while feminism claims to be about equality, it is actually pushing for supremacy because it thinks that's what equality is. One of the biggest issues I take with your video is that you assert that feminism can help men, but you offer no solution to these problems. Now, I will agree some are real, but you do not go into detail as to how feminism will help. Instead, you talk about feelings and how hypermasculinity stops men coming forward or expressing themselves. You do essentially blame the victim. That sounds very familiar to me. Men are not ashamed of how they feel. However, we do as a society have other things that prevent us from acting on these injustices. For example, the not a grass cliché. This prevents a lot of people from being prosecuted and instead protects them from the full extent of the law.